Adrian Pederick is the member for Hammond. Adrian, how are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, Ricky?
All right, thanks. And look, feels like you're running away from us, not by choice, but the redistribution of your electorate means that Pinaroo, Lameroo, and a bit of Tailem and Bend as well, it goes down south to Nick McBride, and you've got to represent more people the other side of the river.
Yeah, look, that's right. It's quite a massive redistribution this time. Originally, the draft redistribution even had Mount Barker in place, but I think it was probably a wise thing to take Mount Barker out, because you would have had Murray Bridge and Mount Barker, the two fastest growing regional towns, in one electorate. Not that I couldn't look after them, but I just think it's probably better that they're separated. But look, yeah, all the Mallee goes out. Even where I'm living at Coomandook falls out and comes right up to the Murray Bridge Council boundary on all sides on that end, and the electorate gets squeezed a bit from the top down towards closer to Mannum from Cambrai. Lose Clayton and Malang, but pick up Strathalbyn, which I looked after in my first term in 2006.
So you don't get to vote for yourself? Are you going to vote for Nick McBride?
Yeah, absolutely. Nick McBride, we need a strong Liberal team, and we need to get everyone over the line because, look, as a party, I believe we've done fantastic work in the 4 years, just short of 4 years we've had in government, and I've never seen so much money pour into my electorate. Just in my seat alone in Hammond, there's been at least $200 million in funding come through for whether it's health, education, built infrastructure, and alongside $1 billion of ongoing private infrastructure. So it's been fantastic after 12 years in opposition to finally get into government and deliver.
Yeah, and I know Tony Passon, your federal member overlapping, has been keen to tell us about some road funding that happens on the Mallee and other Coomandook highways. There's some serious work that was long overdue on those roads.
Look, absolutely. The Coomandook highways been in need of more work, more shoulder sealing work, and that's been getting done over time, and it's good to see extra work being done there. Also, we've seen the Narcat highways and Brown Wells highways opened up to 110 kilometres an hour with a major shoulder sealing project coming from us at the state level, and also there was some guardrailing put in and some roadworks dug up and redone. So that was about $42 million for those roads cutting between Chaffey, Hammond and Mackillop. And it's a great connector for those industries. Now we certainly see Zarella Fresh expanding at Perilla, and so for their freight connections throughout the Mallee and the Riverland will be so much better now.
And speaking of the roads in the region, Tony Passon actually had a bit of a dig at the local grain handler or bulk carrier regarding putting more grains on the roads rather than going along the rail. What's going on there?
Well, look, that's something that's happened over time, and it is sad to see that, especially the Mallee lines, whether it's the Coomandook line or the Lameroo-Pinaroo line, because there wasn't enough maintenance put into them. They were left running at 25 kilometres an hour. They still could run, and grain trains were coming out of the Mallee on hot days, coming out at night, so it still could have happened. Viterra made a conscious decision not to use those lines, and they could have co-contributed to get those lines up to speed. But, yeah, you're exactly right. Now the road trains come along the bitumen, and then it's up to the federal and state governments to keep that maintenance up.
Well, now on the health front, I think there have been some emergency departments that haven't been able to be open as often as they would have liked to be. What's been happening in that regard and with regard to doctors in the local area?
Well, certainly on the health front, I've been very pleased to see the opening of the new emergency department here at Murray Bridge. That was a $7 million pledge that we had going into the last election. That's been built, and that coincides with $3 million to move radiology and also do up some operating theatres. So that was $10 million into the Murray Bridge Hospital. We've had Tailem and Bend recently open its emergency department, and these are going to happen rolling across the state. We've seen some regional emergency departments shut because of co-location with aged care and hospitals. And Strathalbyn coming into the electorate, the ED there has been closed for a while because of that, because of the COVID risk. And so we will be opening that, but we need that to be open to support the people of not just Strathalbyn but surrounding districts. But look, it has been challenging, but I think we still live in the safest state and the safest country.
Yeah, and when it comes to water, you're picking up, I guess, a little bit more of the lower part of the Murray in this redistribution, if I got that right. How we've had a good water year in a sense, with plenty of water coming down the river, and the barrages have been able to, handle a lot of good flow and salt going out to the ocean.
Look, absolutely, and it's good to see good barrage management, because you talk to anyone, especially people using the river for recreational purposes, the river is flowing fast, so anyone accessing the river has to be careful. And it's so good to see water come back after those drought years from 2006, 2010. And I was pleased to push back against the proposed Wellington Weir. We got rid of that proposal because it would have just put a sinking structure into that Queensland sediment that's down there near Wellington. But look, it is good to see. We just have to keep pushing forward so that we get the full 450 gigalitres of the Murray-Darling Basin plan, so that we make sure we have more water in the dry years. But it's so good to see. I know I don't like seeing towns and cities like Brisbane being flooded out at the moment, but there is so much water coming into the system, whether it's the Southern Murray or the Northern Murray system, because it just helps everyone into the future. And we need as much as we get, but I will keep advocating to make sure that we get our rightful share down the bottom here, because South Australia is a leader in this country and in the world on how we manage irrigation and how carefully we do manage that irrigation, because we need to be at the bottom of the system. But it's also vital for the environment and also for critical human needs.
Now, lastly, we've seen plenty for our farmers in this last term of government from the Liberal Party when it comes to like fox bounties and a range of other initiatives, blowing up rabbits in their warrens and things like that. Has it been good from your point of view to see a government that probably has more rural MPs in the parliament?
Look, absolutely, and that's the thing I was saying earlier. We've seen so much money spent in regional areas that I hadn't seen in the previous 12 years, and some of my colleagues the previous 16 years of the Labor government. And one major initiative which assists every farmer in the state is the $25 million spend on the dog fence, and that is ongoing as we speak. That is a magnificent initiative to keep dingoes and wild dogs out of those southern flocks, and also stop them from attacking calves, because they do that as well. But also there's been other initiatives like Mesonet, which is the weather stations that are getting right across the Mallee, right across the Murray lands, and now progressing through Langorn Creek and Strathalbyn and down into the Limestone Coast. And these weather stations, they help farmers plan their day, whether they're spraying or what other operations they're doing, whether they're harvesting, so they can get far better outcomes and less lost time and more productivity. Yes, there is a lot of money coming in, and we've been helping out with the Regional Growth Fund as well, with assisting value-added businesses and primary producers to boost their employment and boost their productivity. And on top of that, it's so good to see so many phone towers, so many base stations going in. I think we've put in about 60 since coming into government, and that goes against one with the former government in the whole 16 years.
Yeah, that's pretty critical with that Mesonet, among other things. Farmers relying a lot more on apps and their smartphones. If they're expected to uptake technology, they need good signal to be able to get the job done.
Well, absolutely, and so good to see that we've had some close here to Murray Bridge at Mypolonga and Ettrick, but one I've been pushing for a while is get Geranium upgraded from a small cell to a tower. That's getting a tower now, so that is so good, and we've nearly got that Mallee line fixed up. I think we need one more at Perilla. But look, absolutely vital in this day and age, and not just to run your machinery, but also to do business in a timely manner. So many more people are online and enjoying the benefits of having good signal strength.
Well, Adrian, good work there, and be good to keep in touch with you across the journey so far. Maybe parts of the border areas and the Mallee will come back into the electorate in future, but all the best in the state election on the 19th of March.
No worries. Look, it does move around, and I'd just like to congratulate all the border communities, whether they're on the Victorian side or our side. It's been a tough time, but we're on the way out of COVID.